Hello, this is Serum, and I am back on Kerbal Space Program. Excuse me. We are finishing up the Interplanetary 1 space vessel that I have been slowly building in space. And we are now setting up the docking stage to be attached to the power plant, which is completed and in orbit around Kerbin. I've got this part, and then after that the crew quarters and the command module, which will be attached to the end of this. And I've had to redesign this thing several times because my first attempt at building this section of the ship was just way too big and unstable and way too hard to control while trying to dock it. So I've gone back after several attempts at docking and have redesigned it and have made a smaller version without as many docking ports, but that's okay. I don't mind. I don't really need that many. And now I'm just sending this up in the orbit so that we can begin finding an approach to the rest of the ship, which is up there, and basically just trying to dock everything up and slowly build a ship in space. Yeah, this thing is really hard to control. I didn't put any RCS ports or valves on the rockets or anything, so it's very slow to turn. But I'm just taking it slowly and trying to get this thing into orbit. Come on. Alright, so we get it stabilized, and now we're gonna start working on the orbit, which will intersect, as you can see, with the power plant, which is floating around in that yellow orbit. So it's a pretty quick burn here, but we're about to run out of fuel, and then all I have is that little engine to push this thing the rest of the way. This is the docking port will basically be where my ships will. I want to have some landers that will be attached to the ship, and as well as probes and stuff. Oh, and you can see that almost was a disaster. It got caught up on that engine for a second, the supports that I had for the rocket, but luckily they slipped free without damaging anything. That's something on the next stage that I decided to remove, or make safer. And I'm kind of spinning out of control here. I'm having a little bit of troubles getting this back under control, so I've shut off everything till I can get it back the direction I want it. And I think that was because it got caught on the engine, got caught on the supports for those rockets, and basically spun it out of control. So I'm fighting it here, and as you can see, I'm trying to get into an orbit, and this has slowed me down some, but I'm able to finally get it under control and keep burning. So, but that did throw me off course, so my approach isn't going to be as close as I originally wanted. So I'm checking this out now. And see, now we're further apart, so now before it was like 20 kilometers, now it's like 200 kilometers, so, but that's okay. We'll just get in as close as we can and then try to adjust it from there. And now I'm getting it down to 15, 14 kilometers. I'm just working it in as close as I can get before those numbers start to go back up again. And you can see this is going to bring me right back into the planet if I don't correct for this once I get close to it. So there it is. It's passing me up. I'm going to burn, try to match its speed, but I kind of overshot this. But that's okay. It'll just take a little bit more time to get us back over to it. Bye. We'll be back in a minute. Using up a lot of my RCS too. I forgot to shut that off. So I think I used up most of my RCS doing this. But there it is. the power plant floating peacefully in space, 488 meters away, and going the wrong direction, drifting away from me. That's okay though, we're about to move in a little bit closer. There we go. So I'm just at this point using RCS. I've haven't released my engine yet just because I may need it. I don't want to get rid of it until I know for sure that I'm as close as I'm gonna get, and then I'm not gonna suddenly start floating away from it. But now I decide it's time to remove the engine, get rid of it. So we just have the stage now, which we're gonna use RCS to move in and connect it up. And I also have to watch out for that engine, because as I slow down, hopefully it doesn't hit my staging. So here we go. I'm gonna go, I gotta connect up with the port underneath this, so I have to get past it here. And I'm going for that center one, and oh, I didn't realize how close I was getting to it. Luckily I didn't hit it, so that's good. That could have been bad. So I want that one right there. That docking port is where I'm going to, so I'm setting it as my target. Now I'm just lining everything up. I'm trying to get this, those little lights they have sticking out on the sides, I'm trying to get those parallel to the engines. And, you know, as much as I can, and I come pretty close, but it's not perfect. And the other concern I'm having, I realize, is just how narrow this section is compared to the engines. And I know I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to wobble around a lot, so I have to be really careful. Now I'm just trying to get the magnetic clamps there, or get it magnetizing to pull it in some, if I can line it up without damaging anything. It's taken me several attempts, both at this staging and just trying other designs. So this is like my 20th time like trying to dock with this damn thing, and at this point I'm just so burned out, but I just want to get this ship done with. And even after I'm done, I'm not finished with it, because I still have to bring up all the landers to hook up to it. So I'm not completely straight, but I'm going to do what I did with the space station, and just, even if a little bit of an angle, I'll just try to let everything connect up and straighten out on its own without hopefully breaking anything. And at this point I'm just taking it really slow, because I just want to get this right this time. I don't want to have another disaster. I've spent many hours on this thing, and my concern is I'll get it done and it won't work anyway, but hopefully it will. I really hope it will. So, come on, magnetize. Wait, it's going, come on, don't break, just connect. Now that back part is so much bigger and heavier that it could just throw around this other part and break everything, so I'm a little bit nervous here. The mass is way off between these two parts, so it could be a disaster. But it connects. And it doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit off, you know, but that's okay. So now we're sending up the last stage. This is the crew quarters and the command module. Using a similar rocket design. But this one's smaller and lighter, so it ends up actually being a lot more efficient. And this is the only stage that I did in one take without destroying anything, so it took me about 40 minutes, but I sent it up, got it in, took me a few tries to get in orbit. This is scary right here, just barely misses, and now I release those parts. That's what I fixed this time, but those rockets came in really close again. Those Sepatrons just kind of pushed them around and right back towards my command module there, but nothing happened, so I avoided a disaster again. So now we're coming in 17 kilometers away. Yeah, this stage is much easier to control than any of the other ones, and I think in the future I'm going with things this size to make it a lot easier. And again, kind of overshot and passed it up, and this little engine just doesn't have the thrust to get me matching speed as quickly as I would like, so it kind of races away from me, and once again I find myself having to play catch up. But now we're at 7 kilometers, so slowly getting there. Yeah, this one I was kind of in a hurry, so I did it in 7 stages for just the ship itself. Next time I build a ship like this, I'll do about 10 stages and just do it a lot smaller, because I think that's the way to go. I'd also probably make this part wider, so, and use more docking ports to keep it stable. But oh well, it's already up there, and hopefully it does its job. I'll just have to be very careful when I'm navigating it. But I am anxious to get everything going so we can visit some of the other planets in the system. Alright, so I'm bringing it in, I'm moving in closer, just trying to get as close as I can. We're down to 2 kilometers. Like I said, I did all this stage in one take, so it was the only one. Everything else took like 50 tries. And I think it was because it was so much smaller, it was just easier to work with. So there it is.
Daddy,
Hold on a second. I'll be down. Okay. Sorry, my son was here. Alright, so we're disengaging. And this is the last stage. The rocket's going bye-bye. Except for I staged something wrong here, so I had to actually do it manually. But anyway, so it's separating. Now we're just moving it in and aligning it up. And it looks awesome coming into this. It's looking really cool. And I'm thinking of having my landers, having like 2 of them. And I want them to be able to land on like Duna and still be able to return to the ship while it's in orbit with enough fuel. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably have bigger ones that dock on those 2 ports on the 2 side orange engines there. And I'll just dock them there instead, so I have plenty of room. But instead of doing them on the sides of this port thing over here, the docking stage, because that might make it unstable when flying. But I'll show you that next time. So we're slowly bringing this one in. I think this one took me longer than the last stage just because I wanted to make sure I got it on the first try. I did not want to have to repeat myself again on this. I don't know how many times I started moving in to dock with something and I just got a little bit anxious and went too fast, and when I hit, both the docking clamps basically broke off. So then I had to restart the whole thing over, and then I always forget to hit the hit the quick save, so I have to start all the way back over at the launch. I'm horrible at remembering to do that. Alright, magnetizing. Trying to fit in the pieces. And we're docked. So there we go. And that would be my son returning scissors he was borrowing. Yes, I give a 6-year-old scissors to play with. Okay, so now I'm just turning the lights on and we're getting the solar array open just so I don't drain the batteries before I get the next pieces up here, the landers to connect up. So I am Serum, and I will see you next time on Kerbal Space Program.